Do you know that I've worked on over 5,000 projects, 5,000 projects? But just because I've worked on these projects and I have that experience doesn't mean I've gained knowledge.
A lot of structural engineers assume experience will automatically make them better, but that is not how it works. Some engineers improve fast, others stay average for years, and not because they're less intelligent, but because they're not learning from their work in the right way.
The traditional way to do engineering is to work, forget, and then repeat.
And if you do that for long enough, you can stay busy for years without actually improving much. So in this video, I want to show you a simple framework that explains why some structural engineers improve faster than others and how you can use it to actually get better over time. What I like about this framework is that it is very simple, but it also captures something a lot of engineers miss. Getting better is not just about doing more work. It's about how you approach the work, how you learn from it, and what you do with the lessons afterwards. So Damien is one of the mentors inside BangLab, and he's worked on over 5,000 projects, from small residential jobs all the way to the Burj Khalifa. And inside BangLab, he shared a framework that he calls CLIMB. And I'm sharing it here on YouTube because I think it's a very useful way to think about long-term growth as a structural engineer. So what CLIMB stands for? C is for chapters, L is for learn, I is for intention, M is for mentor, and B is for book. Let's start with the first one, which is chapters. I really like this idea because most engineers do not think about their career in chapters. They just think, I'm working on projects, I'm getting experience, so I must be improving. But that is too vague, and I don't think it's that straightforward.
A project can be overwhelming if you think about everything, right? So what you want to do is you want to break it into these different chapters, the chapters that you've already developed.
That is such a good point. So for example, this is one of my projects, and these are the project chapters. And not every chapter will matter on every project. It depends on what that specific project is actually teaching you. And once you define the chapter, you can actually pay attention to it. You can study it, you can reflect on it, you can improve on purpose.
But once you break it down into chapters, you get the link between projects. And that link between projects is how you learn.
I think that is the big shift here. Because once you start seeing your career in chapters, you can look back and clearly see what is missing. You can look at your own book and realize, I have done a lot on timber framing, but almost nothing on retaining walls. Or maybe I have done plenty of footing design, but barely anything on deep foundations. And once you can see the gaps, you can start filling them deliberately. The second one is learn. And this sounds obvious, but I do not think most engineers actually do this properly. A lot of the time, we do the work, get the job out, move on to the next deadline, and we call that learning. But that is not really the same thing.
But you want to write the chapters of the things you want to learn. The second thing is then within those chapters, you want to learn those things.
And if you think about it, this is also what gives you direction. Structural engineering has too many topics to try to learn all at once. It can feel overwhelming. But once you know what chapter you are in, you know what to focus on. You're not trying to learn everything. You're trying to learn the things that belong to that chapter. And once you know what chapter you are in, you need to study it properly. You do not want to just copy what was done last time and move on. You want to actually learn it. So let me give you a couple of practical examples so this feels less abstract. In one of my projects, I had a large timber beam supported by 3 studs inside of a wall, 3 timber studs. And then one day I got called to do a structural inspection. Then I got to the site and the plumber had cut large holes through the studs to run their pipes. All right, so now the lesson for the next project is not just be careful. The real lesson I personally learned, is that if a post is highly critical to the structure and it sits inside a service-heavy wall, so a wall that a lot of pipes might go through, I might need to specify a steel column instead of a timber studs, because a plumber can easily cut through timber, but hopefully not through steel. Hopefully. Or at least will make them think twice. Alright, so I would go back to that project, find the relevant chapter, maybe there's columns or walls, and then I'm going to record that lesson in there. I'm going to add photos, my site inspection photos, I'm going to add the detail, I'm going to add what went wrong and what should be done differently next time. That is how real learning looks like. So before you move on to the next job, always ask yourself a few questions. Why did that detail work? Why did that beam need to be deeper? Why did the builder struggle to construct that connection? Why did the architect's layout make the structure much harder than it needed to be? That is where real learning starts. The third one is intention. Once you know the chapter you are in, and once you know what you need to learn, the next step is to actually be deliberate about it. Otherwise, you just leave your growth to chance. But that's not a real strategy, I would say.
You want to learn it with intention, right? So act deliberately to learn these things. Don't just think that you're going to use osmosis to learn things. That's not the way engineering is.
You actually need to decide what you're trying to get better at. Maybe on the next project, you want to get better at tie downs, or maybe you want to understand lateral stability more clearly. Maybe you want to stop copying footing details without fully understanding why they work. Maybe you want to get better at speaking up earlier when the architectural layout is making the structure inefficient, and you actually want to put your point forward. That is intention. You're not just doing the job, you're choosing what the job is going to teach you. And that changes everything, because now each project has a purpose beyond just getting it out the door. It's going to become part of how you build your own career on purpose instead of just drifting through it. Trust me, every job you send out should be doing two things: getting the work done and building your skills at the same time. If it's not doing both, you're missing a big opportunity. The fourth one is mentor.
Do you know that there's no one more interested in your career than you?
No one. If you do not take ownership of your own growth, there is a good chance no one else will.
And there are lots of people, including bosses that I've had, who have no interest in your career whatsoever.
So at some point, you need to stop waiting for the perfect office, the perfect manager, or the perfect training environment. And you need to actively look for people who are a little bit ahead of you and can help you grow. Not people who are 100 steps ahead of you and too far removed from where you are. You want people who are just ahead enough to guide you clearly.
If you can find someone who is even remotely interested, who is better than you, I agree with Gabe. I think you said this the other day, Gabe, in a LinkedIn post. They've got to be a little bit better than you, right? They've got to be one step ahead of you so that they can guide you to where you need to go.
That is where mentors become powerful. Not because they do the work for you, but because they shorten the learning curve. They help you see what matters and faster. They help you avoid repeating mistakes. And sometimes they help you notice things you would have completely missed on your own.
But if you can find someone who's even vaguely interested in your career, right, hang on to them. To be honest, that is why I got really interested in joining Gabe in this school. It's because of that exact thing. I've never really had great mentors, and I think if anyone's had a good mentor, consider yourself very lucky, because there's a lot of companies out there. Arup, I was talking to Peter Debney, who I'm friendly with at Arup, so he is a mentor at Arup in the UK, and he said the amount of mentoring that happens in Arup, and Arup is known as the company for mentoring, the amount of mentoring that happens in Arup generally is pretty poor compared to what it was even 10 years ago. And I think that's a sad state of affairs, but that's the way that it is. So if you can find people who are interested in helping you grow, please grab onto them. Don't let them go.
A mentor does not need to be perfect. They just need to care, be slightly ahead of you, and be willing to help you think better. And if you find someone like that, do not take it lightly, because it can change the speed of your growth completely. And if you find someone like that, make sure you appreciate them too. Let them know from time to time that their advice has helped you. I'm sure they're going to appreciate that and wanting to keep helping you. The last one is book. If you do not record what you're learning, a lot of it will disappear. Lessons you learned from construction sites, detailing mistakes you've made, feedback from builders, architects, contractors, things your senior engineer marked up on your drawings. And if you do not record those lessons, there is a good chance you will lose them. And this is also something we have inside Bang Lab. We have a software system that helps you build your own book in a more structured way. So it's a place where you can track your projects, organize your lessons into chapters, and then turn your experiences into something you can actually learn from over time.
So I've had people do screenshots of this and send them to future employers. And then the employer comes back and says, oh, okay, well, this is what these things that you've done. Tell me about the things that you've done. Looks like you've done it 10 times. You know, what did you use? What systems did you use, etc.
I was chatting with Damien, and he said people ask him how he remembers the exact size of a steel beam he specified on a house, I don't know, back in 2005.
I have worked on more than 5,000 projects. And people often say to me, you know, and they say, oh, back in 2005, I did this project. And they think I have this amazing photographic memory. Well, I don't have a photographic memory. I'm not a genius here. My memory is fine, but it is not photographic. I'm not a genius here. If you're a genius, you probably don't need any of this, because experience is knowledge. For the rest of us, it ain't. Of those 5,000 projects, every one of them is inside my Radial account. So I can recall them at any point. And people say to me, oh, how do you remember? You know, that whether you use a 250 PFC. Even the architect that I worked on that project asked me, how do you remember that? It's 20 years ago. They think I'm a genius. I said, no, it's just because I've recorded it. It's the recording with intention and putting it into this book as a record of my experience. That is the key. And that's how I managed to do it.
That is the lesson. If you want your experience to compound, you cannot just rely on memory. You need a system. Because if you do not capture it, there's a good chance you will make the same mistake again. And I think that is the real takeaway from all of this. Experience by itself does not automatically turn into growth. You can spend years staying busy, doing projects, solving problems, and still miss a lot of the lessons along the way. But if you start approaching your career with a little bit more structure and a bit more intention, your experience starts compounding in a very different way. And that's also a big part of what we're trying to build inside Bang Lab. We don't just want better engineers technically, we want engineers who think more clearly about their growth. They can learn better from the work they're already doing and build their career more intentionally over time. So if you are in Australia or New Zealand and want help with that, check out Bang Lab in the description, and I'll see you in the next video.